Welcome to It's Not That Difficult, the podcast dedicated to exploring the fascinating world of child development. Hi, I'm Pooja Lohia, your guide on this journey, where we'll dive into milestones, challenges, and joys of nurturing young minds. So grab a cozy spot and join us as we uncover the magic of childhood, one episode at a time. I'm your host Pooja Lohia, and I have Ms. Samta Dhamija, the director of Inquisitive Minds, with me today. We wish to speak about all things educational about kids and how a good education, a quality education, affects children's development in the long run. So, Samta, welcome. Please tell me a little bit about yourself. What made you start this journey?
Oh, thank you so much for calling me in this platform. Yes, early childhood education, I feel that is the best field I have ever chosen because I have around 20 years of experience, and in these 20 years, I have worked in retail and corporate and airlines and hospitality industry. And finally, I chose this. I would say they chose me because when I became a mother and I took my child for mother toddler sessions in Julia Gabriel Center in Delhi, though it is from Singapore originally. And I attended one of the workshop with my child, and it opened my mind, my eyes, that wow, I can do so many things with my child at this age. When we feel that पढ़ाई तो 10th से ही शुरू होती है, उससे पहले तो ऐश करो. But agreed, even if you want to have fun, and it can be constructive, it can be a lot of learning and love for learning. So they created I was a student. I feel that they created that love for learning in me, and that is what I am, because that love for learning has started there, and now it's continuing.
It's called Juliet Gabriel.
Julia.
Julia.
Yeah.
So, where did you get this idea of Julia Gabriel? Did you read somewhere about it, or were you invited to some event?
Okay, so I met one of the stranger in the shop, kids shop, and we were shopping. And out of inquisitiveness, I asked her, "Why are you buying certain thing?" And she's like, I work at Julia Gabriel, and whatever I learn there, I implement that with my children. So I keep buying these. I said, because that time we only knew that buying an automated toys and battery operated toys and is what my child is going to get into, he's going to enjoy with, he's going to be intelligent. So, as a mother, I also felt that, yes, I know, and I went to buy that battery operated car, and she said, "What are you buying?" I said, "Okay, but why are you buying this?" She gave me the reason why she's buying that particular toy. And which I felt that, what is in it? Okay. So I was quite inquisitive to ask that to her. And all thanks to my, I could speak to any stranger, and I'm best at that. She explained me that this is a place where she's working and she's learning. And she said that, why don't you also come for a demo class? You can come with your child. And I went there, and it was completely an eye-opener for me.
Is it more play-based learning?
It's totally a play-based learning. So, and there I started my play-based learning. And post that, I've done a lot of trainings. Later, I've trained myself in music, by Music Together. But they used to come in our school and train children. So there also we have taken 3 years of training. And then, after that, I have done storytelling sessions, a lot of workshops I have attended. I did Jollyphonic session, and I became more inquisitive and did drama games. And, again, the journey never ends, because, this field needs you to learn more and more and more, because I think we don't even know 10% of it yet.
Right, it's a very over-evolving.
It's very vast, and we need to evolve, and we need to come as per what children expect from us. We have to make learning fun, and they have to love the process of learning.
So why do you think, yes, you did answer that why do you think the play-based method is more effective?
Yes, it is definitely.
It is more effective.
It is more effective because play is very important, because play doesn't make you stressful, and it doesn't bore you. It gives you the freedom to do what you want to do. And you explore things, you know the world around you, engage with the environment, and yet you develop your essential skills. So, developing your essential skills are very important at this age. Whether I know numbers, colors, doesn't matter. The child doesn't go to school, also knows it. And, in fact, the children who lives on street are better in maths. You give them 100, you
Is
give
that
them...
true?
Yes. So, we don't have to teach them all these things. It comes naturally. What we have to focus on, the working on their essential skills.
Yeah, that is true. And, in many parts of the world, they have different ways of teaching kids, especially, I was traveling to Japan very recently, and over there till the age of 5, they don't even teach the kids any curriculum. There is nothing known as the conventional education. There is home-based learning, there is cleaning. They teach them basic essentials of life, where how you're supposed to walk on the street alone, how you're supposed to cross the street. So it's very funny if you think of it. Today, our kids at age of 5, they may know entire phonics, they may know maths, but they don't know how to cross the street. They don't know how to keep themselves safe. And
They
now
don't know
these
how to eat on their own.
they don't know how to eat on them.
So, in our Ayurveda, it says that when you eat from your fingertips, your digestion improves. It is good for your body, and it enhances your coordination. But we never let the child to eat on his own. All the time I see either the helps or the mothers feeding them. The child is sitting in the class and he's listening to, he's enjoying his play time. And that time, at times the didis are going to feed, ma'am, he's not eaten anything the entire day. And since he's enjoying, he's engrossed, let me feed him now. So, my mind did not register. My stomach did not register that it is my eating time. I'm playing, and you're giving me something to eat. So, I was just listening to something, I don't remember, a YouTuber, and there he said, if you're eating on your bed, your body doesn't know.
That's
Yes.
a digestion time. That the digestive system is started. The enzymes have to be released. The juices have to flow in your body for the correct digestion. Yeah, your body does not give the signal to the brain.
Signal to the brain. And so that means whatever you've done, it is not fruitful to your body.
Oh, definitely. You don't absorb as well.
You've not absorbed, you've not benefited out of it. So I don't think so. When a child is running and anything you're doing with your child has to be very thoughtful, especially, even education you don't focus, but please focus on these things. They are very, very important. And that is going to, lay the foundation for future years.
So do you think Inquisitive Minds really does focus on these pathologies, or they don't?
We do focus on these, though we don't offer food, but in whatever sessions we do in schools there we offer food. We let the child to come and, whatever the leftover has to be kept separately. The plates and the bowls has to be kept separately. They're doing it on their own, putting the spoon in one place, putting the plate in one place. They are sitting quietly. We put soothing music that time. We switch off the lights. We don't keep the lights so bright. So yes, we inculcate these habits in children. And I feel these are very, very essential for children these days to teach them. Because healthy body is very important.
Oh, healthy body is very important.
Very,
and
very
the brain is more fresh.
Yes.
Do you think a routine in a child's life, like something as disciplined routine, can have an impact in child lives? Like, is it a good thing, or is it a
I
thing
think
you can
discipline
skip?
is one of the best thing in child's life because, that reduces the anxiety level. And these days, the anxiety is there in every child, which I feel is not making them happy. Even if you give them the biggest of gift, they are not happy. They said, okay, if you go with, you see, I've got this for you. And, the child is like, okay, I'll open it. In 2 minutes, he just opens it, he sees it, that's all.
It's very short-lived.
It's very short-lived. They're not happy from inside, I feel.
And you think a routine helps with
A
that?
routine helps them a lot. It reduces their anxiety levels to
How?
a great extent. So you know what? I'm not all the time facing new people, new challenges, and all the time new things. I don't know, but we are more prepared when we know what is going to come next.
Right.
Yes, so
We can
that
predict
is-
it. Our body
yes,
can
we can
predict it.
predict it. If I tell you, you know what, Pooja, we have to go for this event in 10 minutes. You know, you will start those.
You start fumbling around
yes.
because you don't prepare.
You'll
You
become
will-
anxious.
Yeah.
You're not prepared. You're like, what do I do? How do I do this and that? So all those anxiety, levels increases. So even in a child, when you move him and it is not structured, it is not disciplined, and he doesn't know what is going to come next. He's not prepared for it. So, we have to prepare our child. They love routine, they love continuity, they love continuous effort, repetition. These are very, very important for children.
But a lot of people say that the robotic life, they call it the robotic life, and that necessarily isn't very good because they say that it constrains their unstructured play, and that kind of constrains the routine in their life in a way that they don't know. They're not prepared for unprepared then anymore. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They are so used to a prepared environment that when the unprepared does come and life is going to give you that,
Yes.
they do not react to it very well. So don't you think there's a con to it as well?
I'm telling you, balance is very important. Balance is the key. Like even in our program, we say it's free play or it's a play based, but it's a little structure as well to it. So if we have a balance of structured play and free play.
Right.
Okay, so that balance we have to create. Yes, at times in the middle of the night, somebody will come and, you have to be prepared to answer those things, and you have to prepare for uncertainties for sure. So that, of course, comes naturally, and you have to expose your child to that as well. So balance is the key. So just balance is, because that is how we balance in our classrooms as well.
So why do you think that, because you're an early child educator, 0 to 5, the age where we say that most of us in layman terms thinks that kids don't understand anything, they are the golden years, why are they so important in terms of education?
It's simple. Their brain is like sponges.
Right.
And they will soak in whatever you give. They even gauge our expressions, our emotions. They know when we are happy. They know when we are sad. So they very, very sharp at this time. Their mind is working at lightning speed. So, right now, whatever you give them, the first 5 formative years are so crucial that they absorb whatever you tell them. And, that is, so even the researchers says that brain develops up to 90% by the age of 8. So,
is
till
that
90,
so?
yes. So till 8 years, that brain has developed 90%, what I am working for after that. So I think the first 8 years are very important, and we have to work as much as we can.
Right.
Yeah, but we don't have to overstimulate a child for sure, because overstimulation will again leads to anxiety. You have to disconnect after, if you have to make your child sleep at 8 o'clock, you have to start, you have to do less stimulating activities before that so that he can go soft to sleep. Because a lot of time I hear children saying, ma'am, he's not slept well. Though he slept the entire night, but he's tired. I don't know, he's not woken up with, a happy face. He was crying, he was howling since morning. So, that happens because we have excess stimulus around us.
So how much ideal time is there to stimulate yourself to the lowest level? Like what?
Just,
to tone it down. What is the right amount of time you should give a child before they
Just,
sleep?
just slow down the activities just an hour before he's
An hour,
going
you
to
say?
sleep. Yes. And do more of reading. Just slow down. No games, no toys. And just slow down. Maybe story time. Lullabies are playing in their background. And eventually, they'll calm down and they know it's my time to sleep, rather than forcefully make them sleep, that it's 8 o'clock now, you sleep because you have to get up in the morning.
Right. And I think they sense that if they're running late on schedule, even we get anxious because
Yes,
we
we
somewhere
get.
feel that they're not going to have a good sleep, and then we get anxious and we kind of transfer that energy as well, is what I've noticed with my kid.
Most of us transfer our anxiety, our emotions in our children. We
Right.
transfer.
Right.
Yeah, so because it is our thing, they don't know. So, it's us who's doing that. So, first of all, we have to stay calm. And if something doesn't happen, it's okay. Just calm down. Slow down. As a parent, slow down, guys. I would just say that, life has lots to teach. And, let them first relax and be happy.
But at the same time, focus on the development as well.
Focus on the development in a play way, fun way. It has to, a child has to enjoy. Never force them for any classes. Never stifle their movement. Never ask them to just sit down and listen to me. Trust me, I can't watch 3 hours movie. We need to get up, go outside, have popcorns, come back, right? Even as an adult and we are watching some very interesting movies, still we need to get up. So he's a child. He needs movement. He needs his time. He needs his idle time. He needs his time for everything what he wants.
Wow, that's true. And do you think that what is the impact of language and literacy skills between 0 to 5? Do you think they grasp languages faster? Should parents expose their children to multiple languages? Or no, because it's very common these days. Today you hear the kids are going for French class, Spanish class, Sanskrit class. They have Hindi, they have English. Because again, the common notion is that the brain is like a sponge.
Yes.
So you kind of try and put in as much as you can. But is there a limit? Should you limit it, or is it beneficial either way?
It is beneficial, I'm not saying. Yeah, limiting, balancing is first thing that we have to do, that we don't have to forget. Okay, and yes, as far as languages are concerned, I have also read it somewhere that they can learn up to 8 languages. So I'm really I did not try that because I learned very late and my child is very old now. So I did not try on him. But yes, now I see that he knows Marwadi because I'm from Marwadi family. He knows English, Hindi. He knows Punjabi because I'm married to a Punjabi family.
Wow.
So, 4 of the language is quite thorough with. And I think exposing them to a language. But, our regional language is what they are going to connect the most with. Whenever I speak Marwadi, I speak the best. So I think whenever I get a chance to speak in Marwadi, and I speak to my mom and my sister and my brother in Marwadi only, because my if I'm speaking in English or Hindi, though it is not my native language, not regional language, so the emotions, the attachment I have with that language, and the way I express in that language, and that's what my husband says, that you don't stress when you talk in Marwadi. You're so calm and you just express yourself so calmly and nicely. So, and I think a regional language has to be taught first, for sure. And that is how they become a creative writer as well, because then they can translate.
The emotions become very vulnerable, and then they understand the whole depth of emotions as well. But yes, regional languages are very important today. Even I feel that it's getting kind of lost because the parents are very focused on teaching them English from day one. Nobody wants to talk to them in Hindi anymore. For example, yes, we live in India and it's a multilingual country, but then also Hindi is one of the more dominant ones, being the language of the capital. And yet, the kids don't want to speak in Hindi and the parents don't want the kids to speak in Hindi. That's something very profoundly astonishing that I find.
Yes, even I feel that Hindi has to be, it's very important. It helps them express better. It helps them to understand better. At times when I don't understand any concept, I translate that to Hindi. And then I understand that. And trust me, understanding also develops from that. It's more stronger.
But don't you think it's because that's your mother language, your tongue, that's why you kind of are more comfortable in Hindi? But today if the parents are going to teach them only English, then they'll become eventually comfortable in English and then they would be able to express themselves.
I don't think so. My being can be changed, the place where I belong to. I think that cannot be changed. You can change the surrounding, you can change everything. I have taken a parenting learning from a series called Buddha, where his father didn't want him to become a saint, and he did everything best a father can do for a child. Everything happy around him, no old age, no sickness, nothing. And still he became a saint. So, whatever you try to, don't make a fake environment around him. Just let him be. Let him be natural, stay connected to nature. And trust me, we're going to raise a good human being, a calmer human being. These days, the road rage is increasing so much because everybody is so angry, frustrated. They are they're ready to kill you if you just touch their car on the road. So I don't think so. We're raising a right kind of...
Samta, quality matters.
Of course.
आपके अकॉर्डिंग क्या क्वालिटी एजुकेशन का इम्पैक्ट रहता है इन द अर्ली चाइल्डहुड ईयर्स? येस, देयर इज डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ एजुकेशन, बट क्वालिटी एजुकेशन का क्या इम्पैक्ट रहता है?
So, a quite high quality is has to be around child centered. It has to be a right balance between structured and free play. So, even in my lessons, we start with structured play, like teaching them phonics lessons and giving them ample time of free play as well. So, you know, that balance we have to create, structured yet flexible. So, that is what I feel is the key in high quality education.
इतना चैटर है रिगार्डिंग लेफ्ट ब्रेन एंड राइट ब्रेन एंड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ बोथ ब्रेन्स, लॉजिकल ब्रेन, एनालिटिकल ब्रेन. इज दैट ट्रू?
Yes, you know, even at the old age, they ask you to do Sudoku, and so that, you know, your brain is active. So here, there are a lot of dots in our brain, and if you see the, you know, आप उसका पूरा graph देखो, map देखो, ये picture देखो. So there are a lot of dots in our brains, and you know, the stronger the connections are. So that is how, you know, you're building the stronger connection to hardwire your brains and to strengthen your neural system. So that, so you know, that is what is very important.
अब पेरेंट्स का क्या रोल है? व्हाट रोल do parents have in the upbringing of kid in the first 5 years, in the formative years?
Parents play a very important role. It is first very important to create a very happy and yet, you know, conducive environment for the child.
So when we ask quality matters a lot to you. Today, what differentiates your system, the inquisitive minds, the education system, from the ones that are around the block? What makes you stand out?
So, you know, that's what I'm saying, that striking the right balance between structured play and free play is what we incorporate in our lessons, and it is all around child-centered. We give them little, you know, option, and a child is sitting in one activity even for long hours. We let him be. You know, so that is what, and then post that even we structure the class. It's not that we are just letting them do the free play. And post that we have to structure, and, you know, at the end, whatever is your motive of the class, you have to, whatever you're trying to achieve, we'll have to focus on that.
Right.
So, you know, striking the right balance between unstructured and free play is what I call it quality education.
I feel quality also stems from the fact that how attached the teacher is to the kid. I
The
feel
bond,
love,
the connection.
It's sometimes it can be
Yes.
so beautiful. It has happened with my kid. He is very well bonded with one teacher, and वो teacher आती है, उसकी आंखों में चमक होती है.
Yes.
And अब वो जो teacher कह रही है, उनका bond इतना strong हो गया है that ये वो सुन रहा है, वो register हो रहा है जो वो कह रहे हैं.
ये आप बहुत अच्छी बात कह रहे हो, because you know, when you stick to one teacher, when you stick to one person, and you know, a child connects to that teacher, you know, he's going to learn everything from that teacher. He will, you know, I've been training a few batches since 3-4 years now, and now if I tell them to, you know, if whatever I tell them and they just listen to me, if I then tell them to stand up, sit down, run, so they are like sponges. And you know, then once that bond is developed with the child, with any child, trust me, he can learn anything from you.
Correct. Even multi-languages.
Anything.
They learn multi-languages today from songs. My kid has learned half Spanish from songs.
I'm telling you, this songs plays very important role in our lives, because we all remember ABCD. Why? Because it has taught us through a song, but we don't remember Ka Kha Ga Ga,
That is true.
because nobody has created a song for it. So I wish these songs plays a very important role.
There is one, you know, Ka Kha Ga song.
No, I have never heard this.
I
Glad if you did sing for
yes,
us.
definitely. I mean, I don't know it myself, but my nephew was singing the other day. And I was shocked. I did not know there is a Ka Kha Ga song.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm telling half of us, being Indians, don't know Ka Kha Ga Ga, but ABCD, we all know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because there was a song attached to it.
Correct. That's very true.
Yeah, so you know, that's why I made songs for Indian states for my child, so that he remembers that.
So you make songs for every stage?
We make songs as much as we can.
Oh wow, so you make them
Yes,
yourself?
we make them. Yeah, because that is what Music Together has taught me when when I got trained by them. That you just have to create. If your child is washing his hand, rather than saying "wash your hands," and in a classroom setup, you can sing to him. This is the way we wash our hands. This is the way we brush our teeth. So he's inclined towards music, and his musical intelligence is getting developed.
That's true. So there's a memory game that was played with a group of students. What they did was they asked every student to say one word, and every time a kid started adding a word, they started making a song around it, and then the 40 kids made a song around those words, and the words were not even connected to each other. It was not like a regular sentence. There were 40 random words stuck together, made in a song, and every kid learnt it by heart in 5 minutes.
You know what is this called? Linking memory. So
Wow.
most of the time, when we were also learning long answers and we were connecting something to some, I'll tell you a very small example of this. I have connected the southern states of India like that. So करके नाटक खाया करेला गए तमिलनाडु आंध्र प्रदेश में तेल लगा के गाना गाया गोवा गोवा गोवा. So my child knows all these southern states like this. So I've just connected this, and it has no connection. No, we've just linked it.
Yeah, you just linked it. It
Yes.
does not have to make sense as a
It
song.
doesn't have to make sense. So it is a very in right brain development. This is a methodology where we are using for children to develop their memories.
Wow. And do you think parents are aware of this? मतलब अगर parents को पता हो ये, so they can make the daily activities also around it. It's very easy to make the kid brush the teeth, or even to make them sit down, eat their meal on their own. So many things you can make them do by just telling them in a very singing manner.
Yes, we keep telling them whoever comes for our mother toddler program that sing to your child. Sing lullaby, ma'am. We don't sing well. I said they love your voice. Try. So mamas are the best singers. Please sing to your child as much as you can.
So do you think when you do these classes, parents get involved? क्या वो आपसे आके पूछते हैं how was my kid today? Or the parents are not showing that much involvement in today's kids classes?
There are few, yes. There are few who really shows a lot of interest. Every now and then they check from us that how is my child doing, and we also call them and give the feedback about the child. So, without the parents' help, we won't be able to do this. We need parents' involvement here for sure, because whatever we're doing in the classroom has to be, practiced reapplied at home. Otherwise, it is, it's very difficult to get where we want to.
And I feel the parent also feels a bit of connect, because the kid will also respond better to
Yes.
their words when the words are of the same, when the same word is being used for the same act. Like for example, the kid is hitting and you use the word unkind, and you say it's unkind hands. And if everybody around him is using that these are unkind hands, that kid will relate much faster as compared to everybody calling it a different thing. Stop hitting, or we don't do this.
So what we do is any child hitting or pinching another child, we just say hands up for hugging. So we just keep repeating this. Repetition at this stage does wonder. So you just have to keep repeating. So even doctor says that nahi khana khata, it's okay, let him be. एक दिन नहीं खाएगा, 2 दिन नहीं खाएगा, बट वो रिस्क हम नहीं ले पाते हैं. हम लोग ये सोचते हैं अरे खाना नहीं खाया कैसे होगा. So doctor says that leave it to them, nothing will happen, I'm here. But you as a mother, तुम इतने paranoid हो जाते हो कि even if the child is not eating, you will give him whatever, but at least उसका पेट भरना है. So please don't do that, and you just have to let it be.
Helicopter parenting is a very popular topic these days, because बहुत research है इस पे कि whether it's good for you, whether it's bad for the kid or bad for you. Have you been guilty of it?
Yes, I myself was an helicopter mom. My entire family says that, and I think that it hinders the child's progress.
How?
So you're not letting the child learn from his mistakes. You just have to support them, not control them.
Can you explain to the audience what is actually a helicopter mom?
A helicopter mom is, you're not letting your child do everything on his own. You're helping your child everywhere. So even if he got a school project and he's trying to make it, you're not letting him. Even a small art and craft, you're not letting a child do on his own. So, you're doing everything for your child. You want to, I used to set up his uniform, his routine, his lunchbox, and everything is kept nicely. Everything is organized so well. So, I've never given him that opportunity to do on his own. And now, at this age, when I want to, I was so far not working full-fledgedly, but post-lockdown, I started working full-fledgedly because I think he's old enough now to do on his own. But then I realized that I've never let him do that when I was home. And since I was working in corporate and now, I've become a homemaker, and I realized that since I'm a homemaker, then I have to justify that job. And in justifying that particular job, I forgot that I am doing his half of I'm doing all his work, and I'm not letting him do his work. So he's not learned from his mistakes.
So do you think somewhere working parents are better?
Working parents are much better, guys. Just spend quality time with your child whenever you are with him. You can take him to park, you can play with him, you can dance with him, go for a nature walk, and just collect leaves and make patterns with leaves, do sorting with leaves, and make stick man with the twigs you find in the park. Just spend quality time, read stories to your child, sing lullabies to your child, give little massage at the end, and that is how you're going to develop bond. It's not necessary to leave your job. Trust me.
Yeah, you don't need to hover around the kid.
Yes, you don't
You
need
spend
to.
quality 45 minutes, and that's very good with your kid.
Yes.
So how do you manage? Because you're such a passionate mother anyway, and you've developed this very beautiful education system of inquisitive minds, and I think it's growing, touch wood, and I hope it does. So how do you balance your life with a kid?
So now I have started disconnecting. So I have my working hours, it's a 4 to 7. So my morning hours, I organize my whole day and I plan my day. And at the when we end our day, we have dinner together, and we don't discuss about academics at that point in time. Even whenever we sit as a mother, we keep discussing the academics. It is that school mein kya hua, acha ye bol ke dikhao, wo bol ke dikhao. So nothing, a natural conversation and over dinner, and that's all. That is how we end our day.
I read that somewhere, जब आप स्कूल से बच्चे को पिकअप करते हो, आपको कभी भी नहीं पूछना चाहिए how was your day.
Yes, you should never ask that.
But why?
So you know what? Rather you ask more. ज़्यादा लिटरल क्वेश्चन, ज़्यादा बेटर क्वेश्चन आप पूछ सकते हो, मोर प्रेसाइज. आज तो आपका फ्रेंड खाने में चिल्ला लाया था, जो मे बी लाइक दैट यू कैन rephrase your questions rather than just asking a direct question. It is a very big question for a child to answer, I feel.
And I also feel वो बहुत overworked होते हैं.
Yes.
And ये भी था that research that once the kid comes from school and if you hug that kid and say I missed you, and I was really wondering what you were doing, and I did this when I was away. Maybe give him time to unwind their brain, to relax and to not go back to the thinking process, because वो बेचारा 6 घंटे काम करके आया है. That brain has worked, so the brain needs to relax now. Now the brain,
That's
and now
such a good answer. Wow, Pooja.
so I do that. It's a practice, very consciously I do with my kid, that whenever he comes from school, I hug him and I tell him that I really missed you, and I let him just be, even if he wants to lie down, look outside the car, because he's in a car anyway. He's already met 40 kids. He's met teachers. He's spoken all day. The teachers have stimulated them enough to their level. I don't even know if they calmed him down before releasing him. So it's my job. So for 40 minutes, we just don't talk about the day. We just talk.
Wow.
We just talk.
What I do is I hug him 3 times a day. One after he wakes up, second after he comes from school, and before he goes off to sleep. So these are the 3 times when I give him hug, and we just have 2 minutes interaction.
These are also called golden hours.
Okay. So that is what I've been following, and I've read it somewhere, and from there I consciously follow this, that at these 3 times I have to be there with him. So I make sure that I'm nowhere at least I'm home at that time. And that is, so now he's quite old, and he says like, Mama, please. I said, Vihan. So they children are like that. So they'll say कि नहीं करना अब अब मैं बड़ा हो गया हूँ and all that. But I still practice that.
No,
So
they are
these
our
golden
core
hours
goals.
are very
Yes.
important, and that time you just speak to them for 2 minutes. You listen to them. Don't ask them anything. Just listen to them. They have lots to tell you. So trust me, just listen to them. Even if you don't question them that time, if they have to say something what has excitedly, what things has happened in the school, they will tell you कि आज हमारे स्कूल में ये हुआ, आज इस बच्चे ने ये किया, and I'm telling you it's. I've never asked him this question that how was your day, but when we were returning from his school, he was like talking and talking and talking, and I was just listening to him. And trust me, when you are listening to your child, drop everything and listen. This is a deal with your child. Drop everything and listen. So this is called a deal with your child, that if he's coming and telling you
DEAL.
DEAL, yeah. So I call it deal. So that's a deal with my child, that whenever he's going to come and say something, I'll drop everything and listen to him. And it doesn't mean that you're just listening. You're really, if he's questioning back to you, you should be able to answer. And the children are very smart these days. They always check whether you were listening to them or not.
And and when you even talk, you're having a conversation with your kid, you should always express them that you are listening. You should always ask them detailed questions. For example, you're having a conversation.
Yes.
You don't ask them if they show you a picture of a hot air balloon that they've painted. You don't say it's just a nice picture. You go into the detail of the picture. You tell them, I love the red that you've done. The blue is so interesting. I
Talk
would have
about
never
the
thought of it. The detailing. That gives them the confidence that, oh yes, she
My mom
actually saw
saw
it.
it.
She actually is talking about the picture, and it's not because every picture is a nice picture. This is a beautiful picture. I love what you've done with the colors. It's so generic.
So
you don't want a generic
Even
answer.
if I'm going to show you an art and craft, oh wow, what a beautiful craft you have made. And most of the time when I see the children bring the craft home and they take the craft home, and their craft is like just perfect. And at times I feel, how can a 2-year-old make such a perfect craft? It is not possible, because obviously a child is still learning to should never manipulate their craft. Let their craft as it is. Even the teachers, the helps, the mothers, whoever goes in the classes with their children, just let their craft be and let them do it on their own. I said that don't control, support them.
Wow, that's very well said. Do you think nanny culture today is affecting the kids' growth?
Of course, to save their job, they're doing everything for them. And I keep telling the nannies that दीदी अगर उसको अपने आप जूते नहीं पहनने, अगर उसे अपनी बॉटल से पानी खुद नहीं पीना, उसकी गाड़ी में ही आप गोदी उठा के बिठा रहे हो. So where is the child doing anything on his own? Independence is not being given to children. So I think that is very, very important. And, as a mother, at times, I have heard a lot of mothers saying that, my child is very attached to nanny. There's one thing, because the nanny is doing everything. And as a mother, we are quite informed and we let the child do everything. So child is not liking us because we are letting them do everything. The help is not letting them do everything. So I think, yes, that is
So baby train the nanny?
It's very important to train the nanny before
Right.
you hire them. Please send them for a training institute, train them.
Or maybe
And
home
then
train
call
them. You can set your own boundaries with the nanny. You can always inform them that
Yeah, of course. It's like, as you rightly said, in hospitality industry, they do briefing before the day starts. I think we can give the briefing to our staff before the day starts. I know the life is very busy, hectic, but we have to plan it very nicely.
but a very important part of your life is in their
Yes.
hands.
Very important part. One of the help told me that the things which you can earn, you keep it in tijori, and the things which you can't earn is with us.
That is very
And is
true.
your child.
And that leaves you goosebumps.
Yes, he did. And I was like, I rightly said.
And I'm talking not from today, from 20 years ago. I mean, I was in 4th standard when it was 20 years ago. And then when they taught us the linking method, it was an eye-opener for me. As a kid, I did not know that this thing exists. And now if you think of it, it makes sense because everything in songs seems easy. Everything in you learn better. But then you did not know this analogy. And I told my mom, and she actually applied it with my sister as well, and it worked wonders.
It does. And I'm going to tell you, flashcard teaching is also amazing. I also at times some chapters are, I convert them to PDF form, make flashcards and then teach my child. So off late, I would just there's a Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. So I was teaching him that through only flashcard. You know, who's the deputy president, who's the first deputy president, second deputy president of South Africa. How will you make them memorize it?
Right. There is so much knowledge in how do you make them memorize? It's too much for them if you put them in a big fat book. I don't think they can understand anything out of it.
I have learned I'm lucky enough to learn this subject of early childhood education through practical learning rather than theoretical learning. Trust me, most of my practices are inspired because I have learned the real usage of flashcards. They can be really, you can play with flashcard. It does wonders. You can make them memorize dino's name, country, capital. You can teach them the dates of history, anything. And it retains in their memory. It's not that, after the exam you ask them, what have you written? And they've forgotten. So, but if you do it through flashcards, while teaching him Nelson Mandela, I also know that who went with him, where he took the oath, everything I remember.
So, how do you think the surroundings of a child in general help them in their development? Do you think it impacts the kind of environment they're at home, the happiness at home, or does it show any behavioral changes to kids when they're back in class, especially if the parents are going through something? Do you see a difference in your class in those kids?
Yes, I do. I have a child who's coming to me and their parents are going through divorce. He's very disturbed. He doesn't want to listen. So you know what we do? We call him 15 minutes before the class and we talk to him always. Not about the issues at home, but generally to develop the bond with us. So, and then we just talk about superheroes, Captain America. So we're very fascinated with these characters. And we do that conversation. And, and now we have developed that bond that don't need to call him 15 minutes before the class. So because we have developed that bond, now he wait for us to come.
So is there any change between him and other kids or no? Not anymore?
Yes, he, disturbed to hote hi hain bachche. So that is there.
On his brain?
God, I don't have answer to this. How parents can do it. This is a very difficult question for me to answer.
As teachers,
honestly.
how do you handle it?
So as teachers, we just talk to him. We developed our bond with the child and we try to, bring him, disconnect from his issues at home because, most of the fights happens in front of him. And when he also tells us, so there is nothing in our hand there. But what we do is we disconnect him from those things and we talk about other things of his interest area. We develop that bond and then we bring the child to the content what we want to
Don't you think sensory play in general and the brain boosting developmental activities can help the child concentrate on those things more and probably take their mind off those things at home?
We basically try to disconnect, and communication is first thing which we start with, and then post that we of course make them do activities and all that, and then they get more engrossed towards those activity free play, which is not very structured, and then we structure. So we always start our session with a free play, and that's free play allowing them ample time to explore and choose, and then we bring to the structured play.
What is the importance of free play in general?
Free play is allowing them, choosing them, exploring their interest.
Right. How many minutes do you give in your class for free play?
20 minutes.
And it's a 45 minutes class?
1 hour.
1 hour class.
So 20 minutes is for free play and 40 minutes is for structured.
तो parents घर पे कैसे दे सकते हैं free play?
Free play, you just have to set up their room in a way that, one corner is just left for the child to explore whatever he wants to do, and he can. And, no battery-operated toys for sure, and it is more open-ended toys should be given so that a child is playing and creating different things each day. I've also learned one thing with this saying that if you want a happy child, don't expect a clean house. Oh. So I always
guilty.
Yeah. Don't say, "Oh, मेरा ये गंदा हो गया, वो गंदा."
So maybe give a designated area because
You can keep a designated area at home, and the child
that
can
shows
do
them
it.
boundaries as well.
Yes, that shows them boundaries. So I used to put a lot of newspaper on the floor, and then he used to just scribble and paint. And I used to give him at times the brushes made out of twigs and the grass, and brushes and sponges and vegetables and fruits and insects and figurines, whatever he wants to. Every time I used to change that. And
Oh,
I
wow.
just used to let him explore as much as he can.
Oh, that's a very different method. I mean, I do understand leaving them 100% alone in a very safe environment.
Safe environment.
And where you think the things cannot fall on them or they cannot fall on things, and things are very appropriate for their age, and there's a set of toys that are meant for them, but then you leave them there, maybe no nanny.
If the environment should be
distance?
safe. At a distance, yes, because they should not hurt themselves. That's one thing we are very particular about. That's all, nothing else. And nanny's interaction should not be there at all. Nanny should never stop them from doing anything. ये गंदा हो जाएगा, इसको मत फेंको, ये टूट जाएगा, ये ऐसे हो जाएगा. So, too many instructions children are like, I think, now done with. So, they don't want too many instructions. I think we have to focus on quality than quantity. So when I talk about quality and quantity, give them instructions which are really, really important, okay? And don't over-instruct them for everything. अच्छा ऐसे नहीं चलना है, ये नहीं करना है, ऐसे यहाँ नहीं बैठना है, ऐसे नहीं बैठते हैं. So I see there are like helicopter moms. So they are very particular and they really want things to go as per their thing.
Right. And I think it's a natural instinct. आप वो रोक भी नहीं पाते हो. वो बहुत naturally आता है, because I am very guilty of this. I am very particular. I generally, in general, I like clean places. Minor OCD. And what I do is that I kind of stop him from scribbling on the walls, which I know rightfully a lot
You
of
can
parents, a lot of even teachers tell me that you should let it be, but I can't. And I give him a piece of paper. I don't stop him from scribbling, but I give him a piece of paper. Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yeah, you can give him a designated area that maybe you paste something on the wall because he likes maybe scribbling on the wall. So maybe one section and we only scribble here. And you tell him once, twice, मैं 2-3 बार बोल देती हूँ, फिर भी ये पूरे दीवारों में करता है. So what you can do is, you have to repeatedly say this. That's what I'm saying, that some things which we want, that instruction you can repeat multiple times. But like my doctor said, ये 3 बार में नहीं खाता तो मुझे नहीं लगता डॉक्टर इसको वेजिटेबल्स पसंद है. कितनी बार खिलाने की कोशिश की, 1-2 बार किया था, फिर he did not take to it. So he's like, 21 बार करना है. 21 बार करना है, my doctor said. As like 21 बार, उसके बाद वो कर लेगा. लेकिन उसी पे फोकस करना जो आपको लगता है इम्पोर्टेंट है.
Okay. The logic being that कि वो multiple attempt से
ही वो करेगा. अगर हम बोलते 1-2 बार, नहीं ये तो खाता ही नहीं है. So after 2-3 attempts we say नहीं ये तो करता ही नहीं है. नहीं इसको तो मेसी प्ले पसंद ही नहीं है. अभी तो इसने स्टार्ट ही नहीं किया.
हाँ, हमने अपने माइंड में टैग कर दिया
उस चीज़ को हमने टैग कर दिया है. So we tagged him that he is not comfortable with this. He's not comfortable with messy play. Wait. So that is why we continue doing it until he's at it without forcing him. It's there. I have never forced. This child was literally not touching any of my sensory play, and he was sitting like this and only observing the kids in the class always. 8th, 9th, 10th classes. After that, one day he came on his own, and you know what? He was playing with Oobleck.
Oh wow.
Because nobody forced him, but he thought since everybody is enjoying, this party is happening, I'm the only one who's not part of this party. And I want to be a part of this party, so I will get engrossed.
Wow. That is true. That happens. बच्चों को अपने आप ही लगता है कि नहीं ये भी इतना इंटरेस्टिंग है, मैंने Play-Doh.
So slime, Oobleck, Play-Doh, these are different textures and children really love it.
It's very good for them.
Very good for them. So it strengthens their neural connections in the brain. And the more stronger they are, you're socially, emotionally, you're very, very strong.
How do you recommend that parents can help kids build problem-solving skills or resilience? How do you develop that?
We don't even expose our children to problems. Where are you talking about teaching them about this skill?
That is true.
So first, you let them face the world. Don't control them and support them, as I always said. Just let them be and let them do what they are doing, and they will automatically come to the solution.
And what if they don't in that moment?
In that moment, then you just tell them, and maybe you could have a hand, like as usual, like our parents also used to say कि इससे लड़ाई करने से अच्छा था आप उससे जाके बात कर लेते.
पर
So-
प्रॉब्लम खत्म होने के बाद.
Yes, but that time let him deal and see how he's dealing with it. See how he's dealing with it.
And what if it is a way
Rather
that you
than
don't
you-
approve? What if that is the way he's dealing is something you don't
You
approve
don't
of?
have to react that time. You talk to him later about this. Never react if your child has done something in social gathering which is not acceptable, rather than, hitting him. I saw a lady hitting a child in the mall because he was very stubborn in buying a toy. He was very stubborn, and he was like following on the this thing on the road, and he's like, I want this, and mama started hitting him. And we are mothers, and I'm not even saying we are mothers. At times, these emotions can, something can trigger it. And but I felt very bad for the child as well as for the mother, because a mother in this social, setup or these kind of places, they don't like to lose their temper. But if she has done it, I'm sure there is a reason behind it.
But meltdown is a whole altogether very different
it's
ball
very
game.
different.
It's a different, I think, way
Much
of handling altogether. There's so much information on meltdowns today. I think today meltdowns are handled in much better way as compared to what they were done earlier. Because earlier the parents also used to react, but today parents are much more aware of connecting to their eye level, to calming themselves down first before they calm the child down, because they've
Absolutely.
understood their energy transfers. These are the facts that the parents have understood today, and if they haven't, then they really should read about it, because there is a proper way of handling a meltdown in a way that you can even comfort the child at the same time and understand.
So I read it somewhere that if you're taking him to a social gathering or in a malls, what you can do is basically you speak to your child and then take him there. So every time, this should come as a practice. If you're going somewhere, communicate to your child that I'm going here. I will come back soon. During that period, you'll be taken care by nani, dadi, whoever you are dropping him with. But that communication needs to happen.
Yeah, and communication helps them even develop trust with you.
Yes. Rather than just. So let them cry. Let them please. If they have got hurt, yes, they have got hurt. They will cry. Don't cry. कुछ नहीं हुआ रे. कुछ नहीं मुझे चोट लगी है. Who are you to decide मुझे कुछ हुआ या नहीं हुआ? Because something is not visible, it means I'm not hurt.
That's true.
You've hurt me from words. I've hurt it from. Maybe I have physically hurt you, but you've hurt me with words.
But not
And I'm
acknowledging
vertically,
the-
yeah. But I'm hurt. That's visible. It's not visible.
That's true. That's true. So, what do you think of kids with developmental challenges? As an educator, what challenges do you feel with kids who are differently abled? Have you come across any such instance? And do you think our society is not sensitive towards them?
Yes, I think these days acceptance is the problem. I think differences has to be celebrated. We are not, letting them thrive because we tagging these children. When we are physically ill, we tell everybody that, I have a headache, I have a cold, I have a knee pain, I have this, I have skin allergies, but we never talk about any issues if I have. If a child has anxiety issue, or if a child has some, fine motor issues, gross motor issues, and right time, if you intervene at the right time, as early as you can, this can be rectified. It is not a big thing. But yeah, the society is not, though awareness is a lot, all thanks to people who are making people aware about this, but I think acceptance is still not there.
Right. As an educator, how do you get to know that the kid is differently abled or is not reaching the milestones? How do you get to know that?
So we obviously check the milestone chart, and if there are red alerts in that chart, so we try to speak to the mother. Of course, we are nobody to tell that your child needs special.
Of course, you can't perform
Yeah.
the diagnosis.
We cannot do that diagnosis, but if we feel that there is a red flag in any of the milestone, then we speak to the parent and we definitely refer to the pediatrician, and the therapist pediatricians, and then there they take it forward. And I, thank God that I have done this to 3 or 4 parents, and they have accepted it. But there were few parents who have not even accepted it.
Is that an issue of accepting it? Because
Acceptance is a big issue.
if
in
your
the
teacher is
society.
telling you that the kid is not reaching a milestone because they have a different brain, or they have some difficulty reaching, it could be dyslexia, it could be autism, it could be ADHD.
It could be anything, but that you have to go with to a professional, who's going to help you. We cannot help you. A therapist is going to help you. And these can, like for cold cough, we go to doctor. For anything, any pains or any aches, we go to the doctor. For this also, we should go consult a therapist. And these things also. My child had fine motor issue when he was growing up. And they used to say that there is something, and I was very scared. Of course, as a mother, we all are scared, but we both accepted it. We went to the therapist, so because we didn't know what exactly the problem is. We went to the therapist and we told them that he's not writing, and he's that he's not listening to the instructions and all that. And then all the diagnosis happened, and then they said he just has fine motor issue, which is his finger skills, and that you can work. And they have given a lot of activities which we worked, and it has worked for him now.
I think there's a solution for ADHD and autism as well.
There is a solution for everything, ma'am, these days. They need to take them to the doctor. They have to accept it and take him.
They feel that अगर लेके जाएंगे तो tag लग
टैगिंग
जाएगा.
ना हो जाए. बट ये तो नहीं सोचते हमें कोल्ड है तो वो तो कम्युनिकेबल भी है ना.
correct.
तो वो मैं जब बता सकती हूँ, मुझे उसमें शर्म नहीं आ रही, तो ये क्यों?
Right. नहीं, and
I think that awareness the society will have to accept. We all have to accept, and it's very normal. Occupational therapy is very normal. This kind of the stress environment, these
क्या
children are
percentage
growing.
है?
I think 1 out of 6.
1 out of 6 kids are
Yes.
differently abled, but their parents are not ready to accept it. That's a very big problem in the big society. If you in the big picture.
Yes, I will just say that these days, even our parents say, हमने भी तो बड़ा किया है तुम्हें, and we've never thought so much, तुम लोग कितना सोचते हो. बट उस समय इतना स्ट्रेस नहीं था, उस समय इतना एक्सपोजर नहीं था, उस समय बहुत कुछ नहीं था, इतनी टेम्परेचर नहीं था, बहुत घरों में तो एसी भी नहीं होते थे. आज के टाइम में सब घर में एसी हैं, तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें, इन्वायरमेंट भी हमारा ऐसा नहीं था, तो उस समय बहुत सारी चीज़ें नहीं थी. हम लोग बड़े हुए मिट्टी में खेल के, पेड़ों पे चढ़ के, पत्ते तोड़ के, अमरूद तोड़े हैं, एंड हमने हार्ड सरफेस, सॉफ्ट सरफेस, सब जगह काम किया. आजकल हम इसी एयर कंडीशन एनवायरनमेंट में रहते हैं, मैट्स पे चलते हैं. वी barely walk on rough surfaces. We barely do. I don't know how many of you really do texture walk in the morning. How many of you really walk bare feet on the grass? So, these things are very, very important. And now with education, I'm also inclined towards these things that connect yourself to nature. And, I have learned way later in life that connecting to nature keeps you really calm. And,
Right.
It really makes you think beyond out of the box, in fact. So, what I feel is the earlier the better. It should be a habit. The yoga meditation should be a habit. And, that's why we do Om chanting before every session we start. Because the children, looking at us do Om chanting, the vibration, it calms them down. We do loud music, we do soft music after that. So, calming is also very important. You can't send them stimulated, overstimulated at home. And, the child is super active and stimulated. That stimulation has to be controlled.
So do you, as an educator, do you design the curriculum different for these kids, or you just make them a part of the same curriculum? And
We make them a part of the same curriculum, and because it's very important, they are part of this class. They trust me, they are more sharper.
oh, really? Is it?
They're very, very sharp. If they at home they go and they tell everything. And the parents says that, one of the child I was doing phases of moon, and they were like 3+. Okay, and then he came and said, today I saw gibbous moon. And I was surprised that this child doesn't even sit in the class, and only through a song I did this. Their phases of moon song I did, and then he remembered the shape of the moon. And we teach more about shape of the moon, shape of the clouds, and these. Why? Because they connect to nature. They start observing. If I know something, then only I observe. Otherwise, why will I observe the shape of the cloud? Or why will I observe anything else? So connecting them back to nature. So they're
Irrespective of how able they are and how.
Yes. You have to connect them
There
to
is
nature. That is one thing you have to do it.
Correct.
And post that, eventually everything will develop.
The parents don't need to worry. They just need to take them to a doctor and get it treated. Everything is treatable,
Everything is treatable.
and everything is good. There is nothing to be worried about. Samta, how many classes are too many classes in a kid's
So
life?
I would say that don't overwhelm your child with classes. First, you have to align the classes according to their interest, what interests them. And then, you can send them further classes which they are interested, which they are enjoying. And but at the end, you have to think that you have to see that he has enough time to rest, play, and let them be children.
So, for an age of 0 to 5, you would recommend one class a week or two classes a week at the most?
I would say focus on quality than quantity.
Fair, that's true. Maybe one class a week, but quality class.
Quality class.
Correct.
Which he enjoys, he connects with the teacher, he likes going there, you're not forcing them for any class.
Correct.
So if for anybody's class, I'm saying, please never force your child, even for my classes. So I always say that, Mama, if he's not feel like coming, please don't send him. Because, we don't want to force a child for learning because we're creating a love for learning, not dislike the process of learning.
But don't you think that that can even send the wrong message that it's okay that if you don't feel like you don't have to do something?
Here we are talking about learning. And if they are not developing the love for learning, learning is a long journey. It's not that it ends here. We're still learning, right? So it doesn't mean that it's going to stop here. So, that leeway we can give it to the child in a, structured, and by talking to the child that he really not enjoying it.
Yeah, maybe have a balance there. Maybe not for
Yes.
school, but for extra classes. And
For extra classes, of course. For school, they have no option.
so then how do you develop that boundary? How will they understand that Mama did not say कि अरे यार ये class तो ठीक है.
See,
जानना
classes
इसको-
are still, that's what I'm saying. Classes, we do it because, they've already going to school, right? They're already learning. So for extra classes are going because that interests me. I'm enjoying. After school, again, you're putting me in some school. So I don't want to be overworked. I don't want to be overstimulated throughout the day. I want my time. I want to be like a child. So just give them quality, not quantity. So when I talk about after school classes, that is what is my take on it.
Right. Samta, there's so much technology today, and there are so many ways to use the technology, and the parents are very scared, whether it's a boon or a bane. They're scared of showing children iPad, or some of them show and some of them exhaust it. They use it all day, and some don't use it at all. So, what's your take on technology?
See, technology used in a right way is a boom, of course, because, they are teaching really few right things as well. So we cannot, completely remove them from their life because, they have to be a part of this. Now there are a lot of things like, we're not born in that era where technology, we're not born in that era. So, we're not very savvy with technology. We are still struggling with certain things. So, I'm still learning how to actually work on Insta and Facebook and all. And, so these children cannot be refrained from these things. But, yeah, it should be given in a, moderate time. And moderately you can use it. It's a good for them.
What is moderate for you?
So, for example, if I want to teach something to my child, something maybe problem-solving skill or how to deal with stress in a fun way, probably I would show him the video. I play meditation music. At times, we do that. We do use technology many a times in our environment.
How do you use technology in Inquisitive Minds?
So far I have not been using because my children are too small. But yes, I am trying to use this technology called AR where bringing stories and information to life. So that is what I want to do it. So when I'm talking about the planets and how planets revolves around the sun, I really want to show them that reality. Rather than showing them in the books. Like we spoke about, history should never be in the books. It should be, as a documentary or as a movie is shown to the children. And they say history is in a chronological order. So, that's the best thing if we can show them in that order, and they will remember it throughout their life.
That is very true. Because if history is taught like a story, what is history? It's a story. It's a past story. It's just something that was true. So we watch movies today. We watch so many series today like a story. So if it's taught the same way, I think it can be very, very interesting.
Yes, even in the form of story, you said it's so correct. I still remember one of the chapter from my school days about Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki bomb blast. And, the impact of that bomb blast is still there. So, I still remember that. I still remember the name of those places. So, because the way my teacher told me that story. So that is only one chapter I remember so far. Right. So I think it has to be done in a form of story and for sure movies.
Right.
So technology should be used correctly. We are exposing them to technology at many places. So we should use it at the right places. What we want to teach them can be taught from this technology better.
So do you actually appreciate parents showing iPads at home, or you?
What they are seeing in our iPad is it is what matters, and of course the time duration has to be reduced with whatever, like an hour in a day max, and half an hour, and at a break of half an hour and half an hour. I think till age of 3 you can, and little bit you can. It's important. So, they are learning the right language, they are learning the right skill. And, exactly, that's what, again, I'm repeating what you're showing.
Right.
That matters.
In terms of AR, that you would like to bring it to your class, do you think people in the education system is doing it already?
I think I have heard it during lockdown that one of the school was doing, and I was highly impressed because, when I was a child, I was shown pumpkin in an NCERT book, and, that was black in color, round in shape, and when I saw the real pumpkin, I was like, oh, wow, that's how pumpkin looks like. So, it was a shocking thing for me. So I feel, yes, augmented reality was used in one of the school, which I don't remember where in India. But just imagine if I show you a sun and the planets revolving around it, or if I show you a place where this happened, the World War happened, you will relate to that thing so much that you'll remember throughout your life. So there are, I always say the 3-4 techniques which I use in teaching my child who is in 10th grade now is flashcards, through definitely videos. We have bought that VR also. So, all these things we used to teach him.
Wow. How do you use the VR to teach?
Maybe deserts and all, different landscapes and all that. So we teach him through that. We teach a lot of things like history chapters through flashcards, some science chapters also through flashcards we do. Recently, I made a flashcard for the chapter called Freedom, Walk to Freedom, which is by Nelson Mandela. So that chapter I have covered for him through flashcards totally. So, flashcards, linking memory, and augmented reality, VR, these things, if you incorporate in education, your child will never be stressed. And I can assure you that.
Yeah, because I think it puts a very fun spin on the whole idea of learning. And especially when you're doing for maybe 4-year-olds, I think that would be the right age to start with AR.
3+.
3+. Before 3, you don't recommend screen time at all.
I won't say at all again. Yeah. At all, I would never say that because they're born in that era and you can't refrain from that. Little bit exposure is better because, I've not given my child screen for 5 years, and after that he got it and he's got so glued to it. So I felt that probably I've kept him 5 years away from the screen time. So now he's more glued, or so that's what I feel, that should not refrain them completely because, he felt that when I go to school, people talk about this, Mama, and I've not even seen it. So, he feels out of the place. He is not a part of that conversation. He feels out of the place. So, what I feel that a little bit of exposure is important.
As you always say, balance.
Balance. Please
Balance the technology.
Balance is the key.
Right.
If you're able to balance your life, you're able to balance your education, everything will fall in place. Learning fun for them, because if learning is fun, they're going to learn throughout. And learning is a continuous process. Till date, I'm learning. If we all are learning, right? And we feel that learning is so important.
What made you grow, inquisitive minds? Because I remember when I met you 4 or 5 years back, that time it was a very small venture, something that you were very passionate about. And cut to 5 years today, you've made it into a very big chain, especially in Delhi.
From them.
Right. What is your trick to raising kind human beings in your class?
Kind human beings is not taught, it's showed. So they're observing you. It has to be in their surrounding. It has to be shown to them. It cannot be taught to them.
And what is the one most unforgettable moment that you've had with it could be with your students, or it could be with the fellow parent, something of your doing that has brought you immense joy?
That's what I said. One of the child, I had 8 mothers and 8 children sitting in a class where I was doing parent toddler, and after each activity I finished, and one of the child who was not even 2, and she said, "Outstanding, Samta ma'am, superb, Samta ma'am." And all the parents were looking at that child, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I was blushing. I was so happy. It was a pure joy I felt. And that was I think the best class I ever had.
I can only imagine. No, because there's nothing so warm as somebody appreciating, and that too somebody from a very pure heart.
Pure heart, parent appreciating. Okay, that's fine. There are a lot of it's of course loved and appreciated. But a child giving that kind of appreciation, it was like wow. And I appreciated the parent, that you've taught her how to appreciate others. We never appreciate. We always appreciate, that's what I feel. Appreciate these people who are really putting in a lot of hard work. And, I really love that part of thing with motivation everybody. Love everybody, love everything around you.
Correct, fair enough. What is the one advice that you can give the parents who are listening to it? A 5-word advice that would you love to give?
I would say that please make learning a joyful journey, because it is a continuous and a long journey. And that's one thing. Bring as many new techniques